There we go.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bada, bum, bum.
Look at that. Enough pets.
Okay.
Brian is here.
Yes.
Ricky and Oregon. Brian might be here.
So, Ricky.
My goodness. Hey, thank you, guys.
Janet was my secretary in 1984.
Okay.
That's a long time ago.
You are old, man. Old enough to have had a secretary in 1984.
I know.
I was like
let me tell you,
a freshman in high school.
She walked around with a cane in 1984, and she's still alive. Think of how old that gal is.
What a
wow.
lovely
She's probably
person.
laughing her head off right now. Anyway, but then I didn't talk to her for about 2 decades. Anyway. All right. Christian, are you there? By golly. I fixed it. I figured it out, Christian. We're good. So you can go back to nailing
nails.
Wood.
Hammering
what are you
nails.
doing? Knock it
hammers.
off. Knock yourself off. Don't be touching that. Leave that alone. I got it. What? Yeah, I know. It just sometimes there's things in the way, and I can't see the little bar on the bottom. So anyway, back to work with you. Back to work. Or maybe this is the one. No, that's not it. No. There it is. Back to work with you. All right. Thank you, Christian. All right. Well, he says, I'm so relieved. All right. Yes.
God bless you. God bless you.
For working for Texas Instruments in Lubbock, Texas. Really? Wow. What are we talking about?
We're talking about we're talking about the State of the Union address. We were talking about
no. The State of the Union was like weeks ago.
I don't know. You just asking me. I'm picking up random things.
Oh no, you got nothing in there, huh?
I never have anything.
Well, let me spin the roulette wheel. Maybe the ball will drop. Okay, I got something to talk about. I got a little something to talk about. You ready?
Sure.
Okay. Well, this is
talk about that really fancy bracelet you have.
Oh, this has got a little magnet on it.
Oh, nice.
And I thought the whole thing was magnets.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to do something. I don't know. It's a stupid thing. I don't know.
I know.
See my burns on my hand?
Oh,
see these burns?
Yeah.
And so I got, this is my kind of my gay hand. Because I got a bracelet and all kinds of little burns and stuff. So it's my worldly hand.
Yeah. All right. All right. The explanation of the hand. I had no idea.
I know. Everybody's like, why are you wearing a bracelet?
The guy asked a guy one question about a bracelet.
It's
and
supposed to align the molecules that makes you smarter in your brain. So I thought, I'll give it a try. I'm a dumb guy. I need all the help I can get. Thanks for bringing that up. No, I actually found it this morning. I was like, oh, there's that stupid thing. And I put it on, and now I'm getting catching flack for it.
I like it, man.
See, that's what the show's going to be about. I'm gonna pick on you a little bit.
The prayer beads or something. I figured, maybe you were like, it was like you're doing some kind of a walk.
Oh, dear. Oh, my gosh. All right.
Little rosary.
Let's get back to business here.
FHU rosary beads or something that I didn't know about. He's like, what? Some kind of meditation beads. That's what it would be.
Good Lord. Yeah. Okay, here we go. We're going to start the show before it gets out of control.
Help us.
Here we go. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Perilous World Radio. I'm Alan Masters. Brian Boteller is here in the studio with me. He is the guy that runs the Gospel Rescue Mission here in our little town of Grants Pass, Oregon.
They haven't fired me yet.
Oh, but they're thinking about it.
I'm sure they're
thinking. They've been talking to me about you.
Well, don't worry. They'll get you. They'll take you on as a job. Hey, we need somebody with some common sense.
I met this guy I think it was Home Depot, or it was because of Chris.
Yeah, you met Chris at Home Depot again.
Buddy of mine.
He's the only, because that's the place that you guys catch up with. Yep.
Yeah.
You guys both live at Home Depot.
I go there 5 times a day.
They should give you a preferred parking spaces and frequent flyer miles.
They have a pro area. They have a pro checkout.
They should be like the Allen Pro and Chris Pro spots.
He tries to get in my line, and I'm like, no. You get over there.
That's right.
That's the regular checkout line over there. Anyway, no, I like Chris, and he introduced me to this guy, and we become fast friends, and I adore you and your wife both.
Oh, we feel the
Her
same
more
about
than
you
you.
guys. Yeah,
but
true.
we do a men's group on Wednesday morning with a bunch of crazy men, and not a bunch. There's like how many of there's like six or
Six
seven,
of us or something
six,
like
eight,
that.
or
Yeah.
whatever it is and one of them is an Oregon State representative for our area, and he's running for a re-election, and he asked me to MC an event, like I don't know. That really wasn't a fundraiser. It was
No.
it was more of a chat.
Get to know and ask good questions of your state rep and everything. I mean, if you get it's kind of a cool opportunity. You get all these questions like, man, why does the government work this way? And why isn't this happening? And why is this happening and everything? And to have somebody that just comes down and goes, hey, grab some pizza and let's sit down and you can just ask me.
It's funny.
It was really
One of the
funny.
guys says, tell the story again. The Rumble crashed while you were telling the story. Oh, well, sorry. You're going to have to go back and watch the whole show. Anyway, but I was asked to be the MC of this event. Now, I have spent 30 years doing this kind of stuff, 30, maybe even more, 30 since 1992. So that's 34 years now, right? And
thousands of events, probably.
I mean, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it was always really, really, really easy for me. And I thought, as we were talking about this morning, I got nothing to lose. I'm just going to be myself.
Right.
What's the worst that can happen if I'm just myself? People kind of like me, so I kind of like me, so maybe I'll have some fun, right? And so I remember when I was on with Regis Philbin many years ago. It was what year was it? It was the year 2000, so 26 years ago. And I was talking to Regis. They introduced me to him in his dressing room, which was a nice dressing room. And it wasn't just a little room. It was kind of because, gosh, the guy's been on forever. And so I'm in there.
Way better than the dressing room you have for us here.
It was this big. I'll tell you. It was a nice big in New York City. So I'm standing there while they're doing his hair and putting makeup on him, and he goes, "Well, nice to meet you, Alan." And so I said to him, Regis, I don't really do like network television like this. I said, do you have any tips for me? And he says, Alan, just be yourself. That's all you got to do. That's what I do. Just be yourself. And I go, yeah. And it resonated so much because I remember thinking when I was on TV, other little small, local stations or whatever, I thought, I'm just going to be myself. But all of a sudden you're on an ABC. You should really be thoughtful, right? Yeah. So the first time I was on, it was super easy. It was fun. And the producer came over to me and said, boy, that was really good.
You're a natural.
Yeah, it was just.
You ought to do this for a living.
Well, to them, I was already. But so the guy says, well, so listen, next year, when you come back next year, and I was like, oh, I'm coming back next year.
Awesome. Yeah.
And so I kind of said, hold on, next year when I come back? He goes, oh yeah. You were by far the best because they were using one person every day for 5 days to show new cars from the New York Auto Show at the time. So I've been doing this for 25 years. Yeah. And I didn't really even know. I just thought it was a one-time thing. Right. And they said, next year, we'll use you more. And I'm like, wow. So for all the whole year, I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to be on TV again like that.
On with Regis.
And it was fun. And but, there are two sides of us. The reason why I'm telling this story, there is the flesh and the worldly side where we make idols of each other and ourselves. Sure. Which is so far away from God and the Spirit. And then there is the conscious. There's what I'll call, my dad would call it, the hypnotic state. Mm-hmm. There's the hypnotic state where we are making each other gods. Mm-hmm. And we are lifting each other up and holding each other and praising each other. And because we like praise, we praise others, hoping they will praise us back. Right?
And just the cycle of idolatry. Yeah. Yep.
Right. There you go. There you go. So I got caught in that crazy wheel of fortune for a while, for a long time. And listen, I was a moral guy. I'm traveling the world. I would always go to bed early. When everybody goes to the bars, I'm like, no, thanks, not for me. I'm going to go to bed, call my kids, I didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
I never drank. I never did that stuff unless I got a really sore throat, and then I would take some rum to help, kill the germs. Because I learned one time at the New York Auto Show for being on TV, they said, drink some rum. And I'm like, oh, gross. I don't like rum at all. I don't like any of those things. But anyway, so I drank. Somebody saw me. They said, you said you don't drink, you liar. I'm like, come over here. Yeah. I got no voice. What'd you say? So.
Hey, there's a reason that like everybody, the old hot toddy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hot whiskey tea thing. And man, it's medicine. It works. I'm telling you.
That's the way I looked at it. It was like I drink some bleach if it wouldn't kill me.
Right.
I want to kill the germs.
Right.
Anyway, so I got caught up in that thing for a long time. Now I'm kind of come back to my story where he asked me to MC here. Now I've been kind of out of this for a little bit. A couple years ago, kind of really a couple years now, and it's still easy for me to go out into the world and be a personality because. Let's face it, I got a great personality. But
if they only knew.
If they only knew. But it's easy, It's like I've practiced so much. I'm like the dog. I can do all the tricks. I can flip over backwards,
exactly.
Play dead, and But at a certain point, something happened. So it happened to me on stage over there. I don't know if I didn't really mention it.
You mentioned it. You mentioned a little bit, and I caught it. But I don't think anybody else would have. And it's just because you and I hang out enough that I know you well enough. I'm like, oh, look at that. But you recovered off of the whole thing.
Oh my God. Okay. So this is a good story because it is going to be, and by the way, Janet says brandy works better.
Yeah. Well,
but anyway, than rum. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, I was asked to MC for a political thing, which is even different yet.
It's kind of a little bit outside your wheelhouse and all that. I mean, you're just not, you're not a political animal in that regard. No. But all of a sudden we got all these friends that are like trying to save the world and do it through politics in some way or another in our little neck of the world.
Isn't that how we are at this point? We need to get involved because Satan has infiltrated the swamp.
Oh man, no, we're finally sending in godly men in what Satan has turned out. He's just turned it into his bed and breakfast.
Oh my gosh, 100%.
So we get these godly men in there who just go in, and there are very few guys that are just as bold and blatant and forward as our buddy who goes up there and just nails it.
I'll tell you what. Yep. I love the guy. Yeah, I love the guy. Anyway, his name's Dwayne Yunker. I think we had him on the show one time.
You've had him on here.
Anyway, we're coming up to a break, but I'll try and this may take a couple of minutes because when you come to a what do you want to call it? I don't know, an aha moment in your life. You don't know where you're going to be. I was telling somebody I called Simon, Simon. I called this guy named Simon that's somebody that we know, and I don't need to get him involved, but I wanted to say something from my heart to him. And I happened to be, when he called me back, I happened to be picking up stuff because there was a guy in our dumpster digging through, throwing things out. So here's like 4 dumpsters. I'm standing out here and I'm putting all the stuff in the dumpster. My phone rings and it's this guy I want to have a heartfelt talk with. Yeah. I had a heartfelt talk with him in between 4 dumpsters because that's where I was standing at the time. Right. So you don't know where you're going to be when God reaches out and says, this is your moment.
There you go.
So we'll talk about this on the other side of the break. Stay with us. It's Perilous World Radio. All right, Alan Masters, Brian Boteller is in the middle of this story about where I had an aha moment, and it was more of it wasn't just an aha moment. It was for me at a certain point. It was more like after. So I was asked to be the MC of this political event, which I have been, what is the word? Apolitical?
Yeah.
Where you're just
trying to keep yourself neutral in some way.
Switzerland. Yeah. Because when you represent a brand like, Entrepreneur Magazine, Fortune Magazine, Money Magazine. Right. I used to wear a thing when I'd go to trade shows that says CNN because they owned the broadcast for Money and Fortune. Right. And even though those were magazines, they were under the CNN.
Never stopped CNN from being political, but
well, I mean, exactly. And but I was supposed to not take a position,
Mm-hmm.
I did with my life. I did with how I lived my life.
Sure.
And people knew that
Yeah.
I was not like the rest.
Yep.
They knew it. Yep. Now, but I've never really, gotten political. And all of a sudden here I am. I'm like, okay, God is calling me to not just sit there, because all it takes for evil to prevail in this world is for good men to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in that role. Now, the first president I ever voted for was Ronald Reagan. I didn't care, but I saw something different about this actor man that was the president.
Yeah.
I mean, he was,
Yep.
he was a California governor, but I saw something different, and I was like, yeah, and my dad loved him, and I could see it too. And it's like I was saying, people knew the difference between, like, and they like to make fun of the people that are, if you're an actor, oh, well, you can act like a president, or you can act a certain way, but it was sincere. It was honestly who Ronald Reagan was. That was who he was.
Yep.
To the bitter end. So I was asked to do this emceeing thing, and I was given a script, like 5 pages from his when I was chief of staff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then she met with me, and we went over the script, and it looked kind of like, if you're looking, you could see it was. I'm holding up this thing where Colonel Monaco sends me not a script, but just all kinds of background information.
Yep.
This is 4 pages. Lots of highlighted things and red things in red, and it's just Now, so how are you going to mix your personal beliefs, your heart, and you in between all these red marks and yellow marks?
At some point in time, you got to ditch the script.
You got to just
and you're not a script guy anyways.
I'm not.
I mean, it's just you're better off au natural.
Yeah.
And so you were very quickly, like from the beginning, going, okay, the script says this, but
I said I'm going to do this. I'm going to get in trouble with Mary Beth over there, but by golly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got up there and I'm holding the script in my hand and a microphone in the other. And I'm looking at it going, and my soul is saying, you're not going to say that. Just like when I pulled up and parked over here, I pulled up next to Brian. There's no parking space.
Yeah.
I made my own.
That's right.
Now, it is my property, so I can park wherever the hell I want.
Exactly.
And he says to me, when it's your kingdom, you can
good
park.
to be the king.
I said, I'm. This is how I am.
Yeah.
And if I get a ticket, I deserved it.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Sure.
Maybe it was worth it. 1,000 times getting the best parking space and only paying 1 ticket.
There you go.
It was a heck of a buy.
There you go. Right.
But anyway, I'm standing there with a script, and my soul says, And I'm like, okay, oh no. And I was completely at a loss. And it felt like I'm standing there in front of a couple hundred people waiting to hear some smart thing because they see the script in my hand and it's going to be all prepared. And I go, not today. And I go, you know what? Do you guys mind if I say a prayer? I thought
awesome,
the only thing I thought I could do, I need to go to God right now because I can't do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I decided I'm going to say a prayer because, it says in the Bible that if we humble ourselves and seek the face of God and pray that he will heal our land. And I thought that's
go, man, quoting
why
scripture.
We are here tonight with these gladiators. These guys are gladiators.
Yep.
They're at the front.
Yep.
And all of us we're sitting there in our couches going, go, Dwayne, go get him. And the guy earns, what does he say, $37,000? It's a joke.
A state representative position is a $37,000 a year
It's
job. Now
absurd.
remember, $15 an hour is $32,000 a year. So there you go. Yeah.
Think of that for a moment.
He could make more working for Walmart.
Oh, totally.
He could make more. I mean, McDonald's starts people here at $15 an hour.
Yeah, no, I think it's like 18.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And they've got
that's
bennies.
about,
Right? He's got come to work, get the snot kicked out of you. $15 an hour. Everybody will trash you.
Get humiliated.
They'll go after your family. Come join us.
That's right. Yeah. Oh no, there's no limit to how evil.
Oh my goodness.
Humanity can be towards you.
Especially in Salem, Oregon.
I thought, and it's any of those capitals.
Yep.
Any of the capitals.
Yeah. Well, on the left coast, it is particular
It's a special breed of evil.
There is a real rich stink, that comes from this.
The skunk smells bad, but the really stinky skunks are there.
That's right.
Anyway, so I'm standing there. I say a little prayer, and then I look down. I go, all right, okay, here I go, Lord. Here I go. And I'm not usually this way. I'm normally just like, hey, who? Oh, the Lord. Oh, yeah, hold on. Yeah, let's say a little prayer. And that's not me, but it's not a first of mind. It's a afterthought. And now I'm more that I'm thankful to be alive. I am grateful for my life, the family, the wife, the children, the grandchildren, the friends, the opportunity to speak to people. I am thankful, truly thankful every day for everything in my life, except my swollen prostate. But that's another story.
Everything. Well, here was what was great, man. I mean, you did what needed to be done in that moment, which was actually it's a moment of leadership, and you didn't feel like watch me lead. But what was needed was we had 3 men all working in the swamp, all at the drainage valve of the swamp,
Not just the swamp, but where the sewer comes into the swamp.
Alligators coming in every direction. Yeah. And you said, hey, here's what we all 150 people in the room, we need to pray right now. We're gonna pray right now. And you didn't do it by saying, let's all praise. I need to come before the Lord.
I didn't think of that.
That's what a leader does. And you did it because it just come out naturally, because it's who you are. It's part of who you are.
I just knew that I needed God's help in that moment, because I am so out of my
everybody in that room needed to take a lesson from Alan Masters in that moment and go, no, you're right. We should be going before the Lord. I should be, when I think about my state representatives, when I think about these people that are doing these hard things, I should be going before the Lord. And I should be doing it for everything else that I do too. So it was a great little leadership.
I don't know, I'm not the kind of guy that prays publicly in my life.
No.
We have to take a break, so we'll talk about that on the other side. All right, welcome back. I was saying I'm not the kind of guy that prays that, have never been. My dad was not that kind of guy.
No, and the Bible says that we're not supposed to be the people that are showy prayers in public and stuff like that. You're supposed to go before the Lord privately and everything. But then there's moments in the Bible where the reason we pray, the reason that we do this in public is so that everybody that's around get to see God's hand in answering. Yeah. And you're not giving the glory to you. You're getting this.
What God put in my heart at that moment and say, oh, no, I'm not going to embarrass myself.
No, of course.
People that know me are going to be, you're such an idiot. You got up there and said a prayer. It was a bad prayer.
No, and here's the other thing.
All those little thoughts go through your head.
And here's the other thing, that, you've got this thing that's still, it's getting further and further behind you. But you have this thing that's still kind of this little monster whispering behind you going, everybody here thinks you're a cult leader and everything like that. And so you stand up there and you pray as Christian of a prayer as anybody has ever said. And
I gotta go listen to it now.
And you say it in the name of Jesus, and you say all the right things, and everybody goes, if there was any question in the room where you are, or where you stand, it's gone. It's gone.
I enjoy being a cult leader.
The only thing that they're questioning now is your association with me. They're like, a guy at the mission, man, he's kind of a cult leader.
Oh gosh. Well, that's have you been kind of called that?
Oh yeah. There's people that just fun. They just when they're mad at you, they just start hurling names. And they're going to go, what's going to hurt him the most?
I heard my dad talking the other day to Dr. Walter Martin, who was he says that
Bible answer
cultic, and my dad says, how could you say that? He says, you can't join. We have no members. If you want to listen to me on the radio, you do. How is that a cult?
Right.
Anyway, and it was a
What's your definition of a cult?
Very interesting conversation, by the way. But anyway, so
it's been
said my prayer.
Since I heard that.
And I'll send it to you because it's good.
Yeah.
I said the little prayer, and then I looked back down at the script, and everybody's looking at me like, it was dead silent. It was like, I wish I have one that has a button that has crickets.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
There wasn't even crickets.
Yeah.
I looked down and it said, because it was just, perhaps I was supposed to be a salesman for these guys that were on stage. And I thought, you know what? These men are good men. I don't need to try and do a sales pitch to these good people.
Yeah.
So I thought,
and everybody here's already sold.
Everybody, why sell? Why sing to the choir?
Yep.
Let's just get the preacher up here, so to speak.
Yep.
And so I looked at that and I just kind of said, you know what? You guys are here to see my friend Dwayne. Dwayne, come on up here. So anyway, he comes up on stage and he goes, oh, I'm not supposed to come up for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. There was supposed to be all this stuff. And I go, it's okay. Now, I said a couple little things that I was talking about myself just a little bit for a moment. And my mouth got so dry. My mouth got so dry that I was like, I have never in my life been that nervous. And I was like, why are my nerves? Because I was going against something I was asked to do.
Yeah.
I did not ask permission to say a prayer at the beginning.
Yeah.
I did not seek permission for that. I didn't even think of it actually at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I'm supposed to say all this stuff and I just go, no, come on up here.
Yep.
And while he was up there talking for about 3 minutes, I got something to drink and I was like, oh my God, that was so weird. And I'm standing there go, what just happened? What just happened? My mouth was dry. I'm going rogue. We live in the Rogue Valley.
Yeah.
I am going rogue at a political event, and his chief of staff is 6'1", and I'm 5 foot fat. She's taller than me, and I think she's gonna beat me up. And she's in the back looking at me through these eyes like I'm not happy with you. You know, but I just said, I'm sorry, Mary Beth, but I'm going to go off script anyway.
Yeah.
So he talks for a couple of minutes, and then I look at what I'm supposed to do, and I go, I can do this if I do it my own way, which is I need to just be me. I need to orchestrate something that I consider, which is music to people's ears, which is the truth.
Yep.
These guys want to talk about the truth.
Yeah.
So,
well, you didn't ask for permission to make the change, but so they maybe you didn't get your changes vetted first.
Right.
But what they didn't do was they didn't vet. They asked you in the fly. They asked what they didn't do is say, who are you? How do you roll on these things? Tell me how you get up and speak, and what you.
Well, that's true.
So they didn't check with you or anything like that either. So again, they might have had buyer's remorse for a second as they're looking and going.
I think maybe the chief of staff did, but I was watching the face of the man I was there to support.
I'm telling
he was smiling.
Even then, she might have had question mark. The giant thought bubble question mark. What's going on? A little exclamation point. Oh no. And then but once you got rolling, dude, it was exactly what it needed to be.
That's funny.
It was what it needed to be for them.
Oh my gosh.
It was and you were the right guy for the job on that. You were the right guy. I hum and ha too much. I'm like, I sit there and stammer, you'd think that I'd never been on radio before.
Oh gosh, they're so funny. In the chat room, they're talking about, it says, Alan, we never heard the end of the pancake batter mix raffle program. Because
they were asking about at the beginning of the show.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay, that is so funny. Well, I wonder if I should tell that. Let me tell that a little later, if you don't mind. We'll try and come back to that. Remind me again, Open Eyes 3. Remind me again, because it was a funny story. Anyway, so I did this event, but all throughout, I had something different going on inside. It was like something clicked. I was not able to. Even though I wanted to be the clown on the stage, I wanted to be, I was like, well, this is what they want me to be, and I want to be that for them, right? Mm-hmm. But that's not what God wanted me to be.
Yeah.
God wanted me to stand there with dignity and with courage and be who he wants me to be. And I want to be obedient to that.
And with his name on your lips, too.
There you go.
Yeah.
So let's just go to the end now. After it was all said and done, I thought, okay, well, we're done. He said his last words, we're done. And I was like, what should I do, Lord? And then I looked out at the audience, and they were looking at me, and
looking for leadership.
They were looking for something from
Yep.
me to close out. Like, is it done until we say another prayer?
It's good.
And I
It was
said,
the
do you
right
guys
thing.
mind if I close this with a prayer? And they all looked at me and they're like, no,
Yeah,
do it,
yeah.
so I'm really talking to the chief of staff and thumbs up from the guy who I'm there
Candidates
to
and stuff, yeah.
Anyway, so I said a little prayer, just a little short thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh man, I'm going to get my butt kicked. I thought, but it's worth it.
I'll bet
it's worth it.
Did anybody say anything negative to you at all?
No, negative, nothing.
Nothing.
Multiple
Yeah, of course not.
people came up and thanked me and told me I did a good job, which doesn't matter, but it's nice, right?
Yeah.
It's not the opposite. What the
Yeah.
hell? Who do you think you are? You know?
Yeah.
So then I was driving home. So this is where, long story, 3 segments almost to get to this. So I told you about how I was in between the trash cans talking to a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm at this political thing and I do this thing and I drive away going, what was that, Lord, so to speak? I mean, I don't always put the word Lord. I will just say, what was that?
Mm-hmm.
What was that? What was so different about that? And then I kind of got this knowing. I looked and I thought to myself, that old worldly self is not you anymore. I was that old worldly self. That was me. I was him. And now that's not me. That's a clown suit that I can put on if I want to. I can put on the big wig and the red nose and the big floppy shoes and the horn. I can do that.
Sure.
But the older you get, the less you want to be seen as a clown and the more you want to be seen for really who you are. It's like, who was Ronald McDonald? I mean, he was the clown guy, but was there really ever a real Ronald McDonald? No, it was multiple people looking like the same clown.
Wasn't the if you think about like the transformation over the years with Robin Williams, where he starts with like a Mork and Mindy, just a ding-a-ling character that's all, just all over the place and funny because he's just silly all the time.
Jim Carrey's another guy like this.
Yeah,
right?
and then over the time, he becomes a Patch Adams kind of a guy, who can be just as funny, but now he's got this depth to him and profoundness in even his comedy, where he's talking about the deep things of the human heart and making everybody think.
Right.
And so now you're not just going to watch a movie of his because he's going to be funny, but it's not just funny. Right. He's going to stretch the way you think.
You like the fact that he's bold in his ability to, like Jim Carrey. I'm kind of sad that he's kind of, liberal-ish because he's been saying a lot of really interesting things lately.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And he's been waking up. And I saw him the other day say, all those characters I've ever played, including Jim Carrey, were not me.
Yeah.
They were all just characters. Even Jim Carrey was not me. He was a character.
Yep.
And I feel the same way.
Yeah.
So when I heard him say that, it was just 3 days ago.
It resonated with you.
It was like, that's right. We are all playing a role that somebody created for us.
Yeah.
And we fit it right. And so we play the role. And all of a sudden I realize I don't have to play that role anymore.
I heard somebody say like the trick in Hollywood is to learn to become a good actor is to learn to be authentic. Once you learn how to fake authenticity, you're in.
Yeah.
And it's like,
right.
What?
Yes.
How do you do this?
Oh, you can.
And
psychopaths
you see it.
That.
Right.
Narcissists can do that. They can look at you right in the eye knowing that they're lying and blame it on you and know they're lying and go, how can you do this to me? And you're like, what? You did it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And I've seen it done. I'm like, oh Lord, that is pure evil.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Yep.
It's brilliance with a dark spin. We'll be right back. Okay, Perilous World Radio. Alan Masters, Brian Boteller, talking about stuff people should talk more about.
Just random stuff. What do you want to talk about this morning? Oh, I don't know. We were just at
always do that.
We were just at a candidacy, this rally for. It wasn't even really a rally. It's just a get to know your.
It was a round table.
State representative.
You know what's funny is the other guy that was there. I mean, the other two state representatives for our region. There's District 2, District 3, whatever. One of them was a guy named Alec Scarlato.
Yep.
Scarlatos with an S, maybe?
Yep.
If you heard of the movie 1517 to Paris that was produced by Clint Eastwood, it was about the two young guys that were in Paris on a train, and there was a what do you call
There's a guy with a gun. He was gonna do
like
a mass killing. Yeah.
He was gonna kill people. He pulls out an AK-47, and these two young military guys stand up
from Oregon,
from right down the road here.
From
literally.
Josephine County.
Was he from Josephine County?
I think so.
I think he's from Winston. But anyway, right up the road.
Yep.
They jump on the guy and...
save the day.
And they caught him, basically, and subdued him.
Yep.
And so they wrote the book about it, and then they got it in the hands of Clint Eastwood, and he called him back and said, I want to make this into a movie, and he did. It's called 1517 to Paris.
And they both acted. They played the parts of themselves. Yeah.
So the guy today is only 32. He was like 21 or 22 when this happened.
Young guys.
So it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
He is one of the guys that was on the stage, and he is the Oregon State Representative for District 2 or 3 or whatever it is. And so I said, hey, just so you know, I said, I got your back if anything goes wrong. Because, and he shows me his like AK, no, what was it? A Glock or something. Tucked into his pants. He goes, don't worry, I got it. And I go, that's all right, but I got your back in case you run out of bullets, because I'll jump on the guy, especially if he grabs my French fries. But anyway, he was a great guy. He's just bold as hell.
That is so good. All those guys, man, they're just
and then the other guy, I can't think his name is
forward, but just again, what they were was what you were in that moment, was what you are all the time. It's what I try to be.
You are that way too. Yes.
Is like, just look. I don't have enough time or energy to give you the false me.
Yeah.
I'm going to just tell you who I am. And who I am, sometimes stuff comes out of me that is not politically correct or not socially acceptable particularly in the state of Oregon, and stuff. So you just say it, you say what needs to be said. You're the ones that'll say.
But what my dad would say, with calmness, kindness, and patience.
Sure.
And actually you embody that in many ways.
Oh.
Because you're dealing with homeless people. He's got 2 degrees of black belt in martial arts, so he's not afraid of them physically. Not that they couldn't pull out a gun, but even then, I think you would still keep your cool.
I've had moments where they're sitting across the room from me, sitting across the desk from me, and it's looking like everything's escalating, and it looks like they're going to look to grab something and attack me or whatever. And you just got to keep your cool. You just got to. You're standing there next to your bull, and you're just saying, look. Yeah. And they may be big, and they may have got all kinds. All right, we'll deal with that when we get there.
That's when you are drawing on the armor of God.
Absolutely.
The energy, the strength, the understanding, the love. And really it takes love to not hate them for what they're about to do. Because if you do, who's worse?
Well, look, and here's the question. Would you take a punch for them? Do you love them enough that you'd let them beat you? Because that's how much Jesus loved you and loved me.
Yeah.
If I'm going to try and be Christ, and be Christ-like to the world and everything like that, then I have to be willing to, we can die for stupid things. You could die walking across the street to get the mail and trip and fall and hit your head on a rock or whatever. And what a dumb way to die. I mean, it's
one little gland right in the middle of your body called a prostate can kill you.
There you go. Just a brain blood barrier thing. Can snap it. And so there's all kinds of things that can take you, and everything. And I'm like, okay, but what if I could go because I was trying to love somebody in the name of Jesus? Now, that's a way to enter the kingdom of God. Walk in and be like, yeah, did you see that? That was awesome.
You have to be willing to not even think about it.
No.
It's like, I know God's guy. What is it? I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I know who holds tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I don't worry about it. I watch my dad in a few situations like that where I don't believe that he even thought about what could go wrong because he was in the right and he was in the right place to do what he was equipped by God to do, which was to stand up to evil without emotion, without fear, without fear of loss, without fear of dying. In other words, sometimes you have to be willing to stand there and say, I'm going to stand up to this evil because it's the right thing to do. You can't even really know when that is. It's a inclination of the heart, as my dad would say.
Yeah. There was these guys that were they were missionaries to these tribes in South America, and a guy named Jim Elliot, and he had been writing to his wife, and they were talking about the very reality that you could die. And he famously wrote, he is no fool who gives what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose.
Woo!
And it was like, whoa,
wow,
man.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
You can't keep your life anyways.
That's
right. You're going to die.
Yep.
But if you gain a brother in Christ, if you teach somebody, call somebody to faith, if you bring them to a place where they're ready to repent,
and you can't force it to happen.
No. But if it happens, then you can go, man, oh man,
so
look what we just did.
I will end this hour with this statement that I finally saw that I had a side of me that was dying, and I was thankful. We'll be right back. Hour 2 of the program, Perilous World Radio, Alan Masters, Brian Boteller, Gospel Rescue Mission. What's your website?
GrantsPassMission.org.
And ours is FHU.com, Foundation of Human Understanding. And both organizations run by donations. So if you are so inclined, we don't exist without your donation. So thank you for.
And if you're somebody who has given, thank you.
That's
that's really kind. Because we realize that everybody's got bills to pay and gas is and
more now than ever.
Yep. And so just that you've taken the time out of your day to do that, or the money out of that you could be using for something else.
Yep.
Thank you.
So in the last hour, I said I finally have seen that there is a side of me that is dying. And I said, I don't know, it was about 2 weeks ago maybe, I said, I'm dying. And everybody looked at me like, why are you saying that? I said, I'm dying. Because I knew something was dying. And I thought, well, maybe it's me. But I thought, well, we're all dying sooner or later, and I'm 65 years old. I'm on the down, on what is it, bell-shaped curve of life. I'm on the downhill side of the backside of the mountain.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm
More
beginning
days
to
behind you than
die.
there are in front of you.
Yeah, I'm beginning to die, and it may take 25 years. I don't know, but I realize now, in retrospect, looking back, that this thing that was me is dying. It's like it's dying on me. If you know what I'm saying, let me just try and explain. I went and worked out for a while with a guy that would really work us out hard. And so you understand this. You've been in martial arts for years. He would have me put a 50-pound bag of sand on my shoulders and run around the block. And walking around the block with 50 pounds on your shoulders, not as hard. But you go run. So every time physics is at work, every big step, that weight is really pushing down as you're trying to run. It's pushing down, and every step, your feet feel it more, your body is jarring, and it's really heavy weight. And I remember when I got back from running around this block with this 50-pound bag on my shoulder, I was sweating. I was not happy because I thought, this is the worst workout thing I've ever done. But I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to run around this block with a stupid bag of sand on my shoulders. I said, I don't ever want to do that again, I said to the guy. He laughed. He says, yeah, it's tough, isn't it? He goes, you just showed yourself how really not strong you are. You think you're strong, you think you're tough, you can lift a few weights a few times. That's real life right there.
Yep.
He says, and think about people that lose 50 pounds. And there are people, I know a lot of people that have lost 50 and 100 pounds.
Yep.
And jog around the block. See how, and then take that bag and drop it and go, oh, thank God. So my dead self was a big bag of sand on me. And as I'm walking through life now, I'm feeling lighter. I'm feeling happy. And what did Jesus say? His yoke is easy. It's light.
It's light.
And I realized, oh my God, I've been carrying this bag of sin sand that was in the hourglass. It was, and the devil would keep prolonging the suffering by pouring sand out of that bag on my shoulder into the hourglass.
Oh, man.
So my dad would say, so you can live longer to live wronger.
Whoa, interesting.
Right? And I'm carrying this bag of sand, and I'm like, all this bad luck and all these things it's going to run out sooner or later.
Oh, man.
The devil's going to keep putting sand in there to keep you alive into the depth of suffering like you have never dreamt of. Your worst nightmare is only a tip of the iceberg.
One of the most popular books in all of human history.
Well, let's just not go there because I haven't written it yet. Go ahead.
It's a book called The Pilgrim's Progress, and
why is it so popular? You think?
It was.
I thought you were going to say the Bible.
No, it was. Well, he's a Christian, and it's an allegory of. It's an allegorical tale of the Christian life, and it follows this guy named Christian, and there's this moment in which Christian. He's carrying this big backpack, and all of a sudden he comes to this place where the backpack is taken off of him, and the weight that he's carrying is taken off of him. And the rest of the story is just like the difference. He's celebrating I feel so free. I'd been carrying all of this baggage with me, and now it's free.
We don't even know we're carrying it. We just think it's normal until you try and run with,
oh my goodness.
And then it's like, wow. So this whole thing that happened the other day was I got to see that big bag of sin sand, that it wasn't me. It was me being unwise, me not knowing what to do, and maybe choosing the wrong path because I was walking alone. But it wasn't me. So when I took off this big old heavy coat and it wasn't around me anymore, I felt the warmth and the what is the word? Security. Mm-hmm. The security of the power of God, the strength of God, the love of God. So many words into one thing that I felt. It was like everything. I just felt like I'm not yours anymore. I'm not yours anymore. You don't own me, Satan.
Yeah.
World. The world does not own me anymore. And I just felt so completely relieved.
That's why so much Christian music and Christian over the years, Negro spiritual hymns and all these stuff to, come to these spots where I'm going to come down, I'm going to lay my burden down. And, because I'm being set free. Yeah. And then the imagery is so thick in Christian literature and Christian language and everything like that, because every Christian resonates with it. We go, oh man, this is what amazing grace is. This is, that saved a wretch like me.
Yeah, right.
And
that's a beautiful song.
Oh my goodness. And when you know that the guy who wrote it was a slave trader, who when he said a wretch like me, he knew he had done evil, dark evil in his life, and that Christ would save him. Just connected, and this is why Christians all over the world look and listen to it, and they go, "Yep." That's why people who understand it, when they sing it, have a hard time not weeping, man.
Yeah.
You know, why is it?
No,
because
they relate to
because
it.
it's because they know this is what Christ is offering, is setting you free from the wretched you that you've been carrying, the dead man, the dead you that you've been carrying.
The dead man you've been carrying, right? Because it has no life without you,
right?
Because that dead man that you're carrying around is a guy named Satan, and he doesn't have life without you. He doesn't have form. He doesn't have life. He doesn't have a voice. He's just a parasite.
He's there to steal, kill, and destroy.
He's a parasite.
This is what he wants to do. Yep.
There's a I think it's, what is it? There's a worm that is going around in cows right now in Texas. My niece was telling me about it.
Okay.
It's called a bottle worm, or I don't know, whatever the heck it's called. And she says it's such an evil thing that the fly lays its eggs on the cow, and then the larvae eats the cow's flesh. It eats it alive while it's living. They will just, there's like lots of them evidently, and it kills the cow. And she says not just cows, but livestock in general, dogs and everything. Yeah. And it's coming over the border from Mexico, and there's this big thing in Texas right now, and I'm like, wow, it's a roundworm or something like that. But whatever it is. I thought, that's how Satan is. He eats you alive.
Yeah, he does.
From the inside out, from the soul in. And so you're right. You know, it's like a dead man. I've been carrying a dead man around.
Right. You're like, what's that smell?
My dad would say you live your whole life having never truly lived.
Oh, man.
And that resonates. So when I was driving home, I said I was driving home, and I was like, what is that? What was it? It takes a little time every now and then for God to kind of reveal to you in a secret way what happened to you and why. But it's so interesting because it's be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. And so he reveals to you in a way that you just know, and you go, oh, I know now that that's not me any longer, and I don't ever want to go back down that road. So we'll take a break, come back. I got another story for you. All right, Perilous World Radio, Alan Masters, Brian Boteller, just talking about life. You know, I was telling you about, happened to be, and I always think it's funny because when you close your eyes, there is a movie that's going on inside your head. And it can be the last thing you saw. It'll start with like, I close my eyes, I can still see your face. And then something else will happen. It starts morphing into other things. But there is, when your eyes are open, it distracts you from kind of the spiritual, right? Like the shiny things, squirrel, right? I'm standing amongst dumpsters, these big, giant, smelly dumpsters that there was a homeless person in throwing things out, and I had to call the police and have them, not take him away, but make him go away. So I'm down there, and then God reaches into my heart and says, call this guy. So I actually texted him. I said, when you get a chance, give me a call. So this guy, he calls me back, and there I'm standing in the dumpsters, not in the dumpster, but in the dumpster area, which is stinky. And so there's a metaphor here because life is happening around you all the time. And there is no perfect, you go to church and they're singing the songs and everybody feels good. And that would be a nice time for God to reach into your heart and give you something. But it happens sometimes when you're in the dumpster, Yep. So it isn't going to be perfectly, you can't plan it out. So I'm standing there, and the guy calls me, and he says, I hear some wisdom coming down the line, because he doesn't know why I called. I said, it's nothing big. I just, I had texted him, and I said, I see you, because now God revealed to my heart, like you said, that I had been carrying a dead man around.
Okay.
And sadly, the one that was really the dead man that was dying was the real me. And Satan lied to me and told me that was the thing to get rid of. When God came in, the Holy Spirit says to me, he's a liar and the liar lies. And then he shows you something that Satan cannot do. He shows you love inside. So I'm standing in the dumpster, and I'm talking to this guy, and I said, I have seen you for the last year or so carrying a giant bag of sand on your shoulders. And I said, when you see somebody jogging down the street, you're like, oh, there's a jogger. You see a guy jogging with a bag of sand, a 50-pound bag of sand on his shoulders, and you're like, that guy's serious. Wow. he's going to go to the Olympics. That's like, So I said, people see you walking around. Now, he had some guilt for he had a DUI, right?
Yeah. It was a little more. It was more complicated than that, but yes.
But it was the complications that go along with that.
In the end, it was that.
Yes. I mean, at the end of the day, he sinned.
Yep.
So I said to him, I said, you carrying your sin in this 50-pound bag of sand, and every time you walk in the door, people go, oh, there's so-and-so. Wow, he's got a lot on his shoulders, right?
Yeah.
I said, have you repented for your sin? And he goes, oh, yes. I said, then why don't you drop off that bag of sin? You're still carrying it around.
Yeah.
I said, listen, God sent his only son to do a job that guaranteed you and me salvation.
Yep.
That we don't have to carry that bag of sand of sin to our graves with us.
Yep.
We can drop it off and say, I am sorry, Father, I have sinned. Forgive me. And then what did we all know the story? Jesus with Mary Magdalene, he says he was without sin cast the first stone. Then he turned to her. They all dropped their rocks. They're not going to stone her. So he turned.
Where's your accusers?
Right.
Yeah.
And he says, now go and sin no more. I said to my friend, and I don't even know the guy. I can't call him my friend even, the guy that I know. He said, now go and sin no more. Let me just translate for you. Go live your life the way that he intended you to, because Satan caught you in a trap, in a snare, and he wants you to feel guilty for the rest of your life. There is no salvation for you, you sinner. Here's a bag of sand, carry it through your life. So you're marked. The Jews had to wear the patch on their shoulder. You're going to carry a bag of sand, and everybody's going to look at you and judge you.
You're unclean.
And I said to him, I said, you believe in the Bible, don't you? He says, oh, yeah, and he's been reading the Bible every day.
Yeah.
So I said, God said to Mary Magdalene, she was a whore. He said, now go and sin no more. Go live your life. And she ends up being one of his favorites, right? I mean, when he came back, when he was resurrected, who did he talk to first?
She's one of them.
Right? I mean, it's like, so this is proof right there that we have redemption from our sins through him. And so I said to him, you need to start living your life. You've lived your whole life, but you're not actually living. To your point, I didn't say it, but I wish I would have. You're carrying a dead man, but that man is dead. You are reborn now with forgiveness, with salvation, if you believe. I said, do you believe or do you not? And he goes, oh man, thank you. I needed to hear this so much.
Good.
And I'm standing there in the trash cans.
Oh, that's so
Here's what happens to me. I'm standing in the dumpsters, and the Satan is in one of the dumpsters, whispering through the crack in the rust of and he says, who the hell are you to say that to him? I could hear it. I could hear it in the dumpsters. Hell saying, who are you? Look at you. You're in the dumpster area trying to give this guy advice about his life. Look at you sinner. Who the hell are you? And the stench was everywhere. And I thought, even in the stench of hell, the truth shines more than any of the worldly smells, tastes, sounds, shiny things. It didn't matter. If you take God with you, that's what is most important. And I laughed that God tickles me like this, that he would have me, the guy would call me back right when I was at the worst. I could have been sitting on the can. I would have said, can I call you back? I got some paperwork to do. But I was okay where I was at. But it's like God always makes me laugh because he gives me such interesting opportunities to learn, to listen, to hear and acknowledge and be thankful. And I said that to him. I said, you and I have a friend. He's always smiling. He's always happy, right? And he loves this guy, right?
I
said, Do you know why that guy's always happy? It was a choice he made.
Yep.
Every day when he wakes up, he made a choice one day to change his life. And then every day he reaffirms that and says, thank you, Lord, for my life. What can I do to serve you?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go out into this world and I am ready. Call me.
Yep.
And so the guy calls me when I'm in the dumpsters.
That's awesome, man. It's a great story. It's a great story.
I love it because it's like, why can I call you back? I'm standing in a bunch of dumpsters.
Hey, how many friends do you have out there that need that kind of a phone call?
Oh, man.
So if you're listening and you know somebody and you're thinking, man, I know somebody that just needs to hear that kind of a call, go give them a call.
Send them a text. They'll call you back. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
We've got our show still, right? We get the...
Oh, by golly. Look at you. If you weren't here, I would have blown past that.
I'm like a studio producer.
You
almost.
are. You're good. It's good to have two heads are better than one.
Yeah.
Golly, I almost forgot about the Colonel.
Good. Yeah, and by the way, it's out of that passage is out of John 8, and Dookie 500 is correct. It doesn't identify her as Mary Magdalene.
Yes, you're right.
In the story, but the names may be
protect the innocent.
Or something,
Whatever it is, he told the whore to go live her life and not be sinning anymore.
Yeah, and she's just a woman caught in adultery. That's what it was. Yeah.
But in the movie...
Well, greetings!
Colonel Tony Monaco, who do you believe? The movie of the Bible or the Bible? Because I'm pretty sure Clint Eastwood... No, it was...
Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston was Moses.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he really was. He was. It's like that guy Scarlato who played his own self in the movie. Of course. Oh dear me. All right, let me let me try and add someone here.
And proof of it is they removed a lot of the Ten Commandments from the different public spots because it was true.
Huh? Okay, here we go. Hold still. Hold still. We're getting, look at this. There's a new little thing right there. Look at that. It's a little
volume controller.
Nice.
Hello.
Upgrades.
Oh, boy. Look at how bright and cheery old Dr. Chase Spears is.
Oh, man, I am like a kitten in a yarn factory.
A kid in a yarn factory. That's great. Well, I don't know if you've been listening to the show or not, but I was carrying a dead man around, and we were talking about that. It was the dark side of me, and I hucked him off to the side of the road and just drove away.
There are better ways to get your exercise. You know that, right?
Oh, so you were listening.
True, yeah.
You were listening. Oh, that's too funny. All right, gentlemen, let's see here. What are we talking about? Hold still. Let me just look at this. Okay.
Wars.
Say it again.
Proxy wars.
Proxy wars.
Proxy wars.
Okay, well, let's do this then. You ready?
Let's go.
Here we go.
Ready to rock.
All right, thank you for joining us. Once again, Perilous World Radio, I'm Alan Masters. Brian Boteller is here. And joining us from Patriot Outreach, patriotoutreach.org on the web, is Colonel Tony Monaco. And also special guest, Dr. Chase Spears, U.S. Army Major, promotable, retired. Proxy wars. What the heck? Colonel, take it away. What are you saying here, proxy wars?
Well, it's on the news a lot, and everybody gets confused. And I hear a lot of people, like the village idiots, try to explain it, but they seem to miss the point all the time. Proxy wars, quote unquote, really have a long history from the beginning of time, and it is and still remains a critical tool in international relations. So what is a proxy war? That's when a major power will use local forces in an armed conflict to advance their strategic interests without being involved directly themselves. Some key characteristics is they have plausible deniability. They want strategic influence. They use third-party sponsorships like military, finance, political, medical. They tend to be indirectly involved. And so the most notable for the audience is the Cold War between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. You had the Korean War. You had the Vietnam War. You had the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, all proxy wars by that definition. Anyway, Chase, what say you about the proxy wars between Iran, the United States, and Israel?
Man, Colonel, you set it up like that, and I want to go into a joke about a priest, a rabbi, and an imam walk into a bar. But, but we won't do that.
That's one of the best jokes. Go ahead, though.
But that really is a perfect layup of what we see going on right now. Is we have had nearly 5 decades now of proxy war being waged on Iran, being waged by Iran on the United States. And this is the story of my lifetime. I do not know a reality in which Americans were not subjected to means of proxy war by Iran. And as a member of the veterans community that served during the global war on terrorism, this is really personal to me because so many of the munitions that were used that killed my colleagues in arms had Iranian fingerprints all over them.
Right.
And so what I see right now is, for the first time in my lifetime, America standing up and saying, we're going to acknowledge that we have, in fact, been in a state of war. It's not a state of war that we declared. It's a state of war that was declared upon us. And we are now going to answer that state of war, and we're going to prosecute this war out in the open, that we're not just going to respond to Iran through another proxy means, but since Iran wants to continue making war through that measure, we're going to respond out in the open, and we're going to take the fight straight to the Ayatollahs. We're going to take the fight straight to the military, and we're going to do everything we can to take the head off the snake once and for all in our lifetimes. And blood is costly. It's bloody. It's hard. It's expensive. It's nothing that any of us should take cheaply or casually. I have a son who's deployed in the Middle East. I was just talking to him up until a few minutes before I came on now about how he's doing. And so not only as a veteran, but a father of one serving, I don't take this cheaply. But I tell you, gentlemen, I, for one, am glad to see defense policy in the United States change to say we're not going to keep kicking a can down the road. This can was kicked down to my generation. I don't think we have any excuse to kick it down to the next.
By the way, Dr. Chase Spears has a podcast called Finding Your Spine. And you can find that, I'm sure, wherever podcasts are found. So, guys, when you see this, does it make your blood boil, or do you go, yes, finally? Which one?
I will say that I was.
Hear you.
Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
I was going to say I was going to say that I was quite pleased with the efficiency, the effectiveness, and the strategic as well as regional impact. Someone asked the question, and I says, that sounds like science fiction, my friend. He says, well, the Soviet Union's going to give nukes to Iran. Science fiction, get out of here. Is there going to be a third world war? Hell no. You know why? Because the United States, with its military superiority, with its technology, made the Soviet and the Chinese systems obsolete. The whole system in Venezuela, the whole system in Iran was based on these systems, and they didn't even know they got hit until after the fact. Isn't that brilliant?
It's beautiful. Beautiful. Chase, what do you think?
It is. Well, this to me is a wonderful change in seeing what a conqueror mindset looks like versus a mindset that is constrained by this whole post-World War II fictional order of a new world reality in which everything is done diplomatically. And to be clear, I believe in diplomacy. Diplomacy is the first of the instruments in national power under the DIME construct. That's what we call it in U.S. government terminology: diplomacy, informational, military, and economic. These are the ways that we exert national power. And my entire lifetime, I've just seen the strategists and the diplomats and the politicians sit back and wring their hands and say, oh, we can't use our military to actually take on a major power because, as Colonel Monaco said, World War III, World War III, World War III. It was everything we did was based in fear.
Chicken
and
Little.
I'm glad to
Chicken
see I'm glad to see a return to a conquest mindset of, you know what, we're bigger than this bully. We can punch him in the face. We can punch him hard, and we'll punch him harder than he can punch us, and that's the right thing to do.
God bless America. I'm just telling you, I see this news going on, and I see how Trump is serious, and he means business. And it's funny because I'm looking at my life, and I thought, have I ever, and you guys, I think we all need to think about this, have we ever been that courageous to be able to put everything we have behind decisions? Because we don't. We're always like, we always have a contingency just in case it doesn't work out. And we always have to think about things, and we always have to plan for things, and we always have to consult for things. And by the time you're done with all that crap, the thief is gone. It's like closing the door after the horse is gone, right? Trump is dealing with it with a firm fist, and he's taken out these dreadful, wicked human beings. And I'm watching it on TV going, look at that. And it's like bomb after bomb after bombing after boat exploding after. It's like, I'm thinking, this is unbelievable what I'm seeing. Finally, the bad guy is having his comeuppance.
And then they're just sending out the replay, all the great the highlight reels all over social media.
Oh yeah.
So it's the tell all the other guys that have ever thought about doing this again. Right. Show them exactly what each punch in the nose looked like.
Yeah.
See the blood splatter everywhere, and then go. Now you just think about it. You know, if you want to try and test us, this is what you're going to be testing.
All right. So one person here on the chat room says war is just an extension of politics. Who wants to take that one? Tony?
That is
Both
classic. Clausewitz, that's what his name. Yeah, military is only used as an extension of policy, and that is an absolute truism. But take a look at the framework. The regional issue was Venezuela. The regional issue was Iran. The strategic realization is we kicked China and Russia basically out of the Americas.
Yep.
We took away their oil reserve from Venezuela, which is now impacting on Cuba. Cuba is about ready to make a deal to move forward. And at the same time, something like a big chunk of the oil reserves out of Iran went to China. So suddenly, overnight, not only from a strategic point of view, he has neutered a little bit China and Russia and make their whole military systems obsolete because they came in, dropped bombs on them. They had no idea they were there. They went in. The joke I heard that was funny where the Venezuela dictator says, "Come get me."
That's
he
right.
had squads of soldiers, and he had squads of bullets and munitions and everything. And then Trump cartoon is, well, technically he invited
me. Right.
Exactly.
Chase, what do you think?
Well, this is audacity in action, gentlemen. And audacity is something that we talk about as military officers. It's one of the things that's a function of successful combat. And strategy has its place, deliberation has its place. These actions, even though the public looks at it and thinks, "Oh, this is rash," it wasn't thought out. It was thought out. It was carefully planned. I mean, there were councils after councils after councils across the Department of War and Defense complex looking at this and mitigating risk and all that. So this wasn't just total shooting from the hip.
No,
but
I know it wasn't.
Audacity, right?
But here's
here's
the difference. He has people that he asks, "Get me this information and get it fast." And they had already been watching. In other words, I think it reminds me of the cat at the gopher hole. I've told this story a lot of times. I was watching my cat one day, and he was just sitting there looking in this hole. And he sat there, and so I decided, I'm going to see what happens. And I think I sat there for like half an hour watching my cat watch a hole. And when the gopher stuck its head up, the cat went shoo, and snatched him out of that hole with his claw and bit him on the head and then just walked off with his bounty. And so you have to be ready. Now, we were ready, and that is where I want to stand ready in my life. If you're standing ready, which we Americans, we were standing ready, and then the man that needed to make the decision was also standing ready, and he said, go. And it was, like you said, all the things that were all lined up. We're going to take a break, and we'll bring you right back with some more. This is an interesting time of life. These times are biblical. No question.
Yeah.
All right. It's Perilous World Radio. PatriotOutreach.org is where you can find more about Patriot Outreach. It is Perilous World Radio. Be right back. All right. Last segment of the show. It goes fast, doesn't it, Brian?
It does. It does. You know, something that is, I've been used to seeing, I've grown up in a world where the White House leaked so bad that they thought that it was the previous White House's administrations have been presidential administrations have all been, let's tell the press what our military plans are for this future attack that we're going to do. So,
ridiculous.
Somehow, like, we're going to tell them all what our plans are, and he keeps his cards close to his chest.
Yeah.
And finally, we have it's like, why would I tell you guys this? You're just going to run and tell it to my enemies.
That's right.
I'm not going to. You guys are no longer invited here, and I love that. I love that because that's how you pull off of Venezuela. That's how you pull off this thing. And everybody thinks, oh, it's come with no planning. Oh, no. You just weren't invited to the planning. We've been planning for months.
Forever and ever.
Yeah.
Dr. Chase Spears joining us also with a podcast, Finding Your Spine. It's available where podcasts are found. And Colonel Tony Monaco, Patriot Outreach, patriotoutreach.org on the web. Guys, it's funny. When Trump got into office, he was, he ran on the drain the swamp. And earlier in the show, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, let me jump in with a war story about Trump.
Okay.
I don't talk about it much, but I did, in fact, shake Trump's hand. And this was before he was president.
Ah.
And the press made a question to him. How are you going to defeat ISIS when the generals say it's going to take 40 years to do it? Now, Trump's comment is obviously we don't have a Patton in the
General
Army.
Patton, yeah.
General Patton, because that's a mindset, to do that. That's one thought. And the other thought, too, you were talking biblical, is this all design thing? The other day, I have a friend that sends me a lot of good stuff, and they're virtually everything is anti-Trump. And it was the biggest thing I enjoy about this anti-Trump. A Democratic poster said that the press can catch Trump walking on water, and the headlines would read, Trump can't swim. And on top of that...
I like that.
On top of that, I sent him in response the election fraud in Georgia. The Secretary of State of Georgia admitted that 300,000 votes were cast, and Trump only lost Georgia by 11,000 votes. And he says, fake news, fake news, fake news. And I responded with this thought. Had he won then, he would not be here today to do what he's doing now.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everything happens for a reason in life. All things work together for good for those that love the Lord and are called to his purpose. So I was talking earlier today in the show about how I saw something about myself, this as Brian called it, kind of a dead man that I've been carrying around. Because when you come face to face, I think with some part of your life where you have to make a choice, who am I really? Who do I really want to be? I've wasted so much of my life, lived so much of my life thinking I was living, but really the life that I was supposed to be living, like you said, Colonel, if Trump had gotten in, he wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't have him today to be doing this, to be saving America and the world the way he is, I feel, from tyranny and from evil. But we all come to that spot. But I have a feeling that folks that go through military, they go through the training and the horrors of war, and you know, with Patriot Outreach and post-traumatic stress and all the rest, that we have to come to grips with, we do have to die to ourselves and to Christ. And I finally dumped off my dead body, the old dead worldly body. The world was creating me, and I was a willing subject. And I finally threw that old dead body off my shoulders that wasn't me. It was almost done doing the transformation, the metamorphosis. It was almost done. And all of a sudden, God woke me up and said, wake up, come forth, be who I intended you to be. I don't know, maybe Chase, do you have any thoughts on that? Did you go through anything that changed you so much? It was a profound change in your life because of military, or is it just your search for Christ?
Well, I think for me, it's just a continual working through the Word, working through my relationship with the Lord, and every time coming to realize, you know what? I am held by His hands, and I'm not fatalistic about things. I'm not one who believes that everything is just set, but the Lord knows what my days are. The Lord has numbered them, and I'm just responsible to be faithful with what I have been given in this time and in this place, and try to use it to the most of His glory as much as possible. And for instance, like, I recognize the kind of work that I do now, the kind of writing I do now, the advocacy that I do now, even the things that I say and engaging in forums like this right now. I mean, this is not the way you get invited to the cocktail circuit, right? This is not the way that you get invited to the $250 million a year, cool guy jobs.
That's
but
right.
It's what I'm called to do, right? This is faithfulness. This is using the talents God has given me and realizing He has my back, that He will provide, He will lead where He wants me to go, and to just trust in that. And it doesn't come without seasons of, what in the world is going on here, but just trusting and knowing the Lord is faithful.
That's awesome. All right, listen, we are coming to an end of this whole thing. Finding Your Spine with Dr. Chase Spears on podcasts everywhere. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. We enjoy having you on the show today with us, and always. And Colonel Tony Monaco, patriotoutreach.org on the web. Please check that out. And if you can help support any of these 3 nonprofits we have here, Brian Boteller with the Gospel Rescue Mission in Grants Pass. What is the website again?
GrantsPassMission.org.
Okay, I'll remember that one of these days. Yeah. And FHU.com for us here at the foundation. All right, that's it. Perilous World Radio signing off. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for being part of the show. See you next time.
God bless.
Hey, you can't put that in there. That I was watching the clock count down, so I had to put an end to it there, guys. Yep. Thank you both so much. Chase, I love you, man. You're great. Colonel, like family to me. Yep. Thank you, guys.
Another exciting day, I tell you.
Yep. Thanks. Appreciate you both.
Thanks so much, gentlemen. Y'all take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care, brother.
Yep.
Charge on. Do good.
Yep. Good guys. All right, folks. Brian, thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
Always, enjoyable, fun couple of hours to talk about things. Thank all you folks out there in Radio Land. I will have to jettison some of these things.
You're going to eventually have to tell them the end of the pancake batter story or whatever.
Just for them.
Okay, yeah.
Just for them. You were there.
Off show. Remind me.
Your wife was trying to sell some pancake batter, and she says it's got a price of $51.
Oh yeah.
And how about somebody bid? This is the one thing that was being auctioned off, the one thing instead of raffled.
Yeah, right.
And she goes, how about somebody pay maybe $70? And it was like crickets. And I think that she goes, well, I don't know. She goes, how about $20? I go, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And then she goes,
I'll do 30.
And then she goes, how about 25? And I go, I'll do it. And then she goes, oh, that's great. And then she goes, how about 30? When somebody pay 30, I go, I'll take it. And everybody's looking at me like, wait a minute, that's the same guy bidding against himself. And I start kind of laughing. And
Pretty soon, other people start bidding.
No, but the best one was I went to 35, and then somebody else goes 40, and I go, "Hey, what are you doing? I'm trying to buy this thing." So anyway,
I think it ended up getting like $60
70,
or something. 70
she
bucks.
wanted 70, and it brought 70.
Yep.
And I didn't
you
have
didn't have to pay for it. Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Oh, it was so fun.
It was a great
so
moment.
fun.
Yeah. Fun.
I've been to thousands of auctions in my life, and I would always do stuff like that.
That's
and then
great.
everybody's watching you to see what you do.
Yeah.
Because they think, well, he knows what it's worth. And even if you don't, but listen, they're trying to get, $100 for a $5,000 car. I'm going to go, how about 2,000? Because they're like, if somebody pay 100, okay, 100, I'll have 200. I'm like, 2,000. Hey, did he say 2,000? Wow, 2,000. Now we've got a real player. And everybody's like, what are you doing? I go, I'm going to pay 3,000. It's worth 5. What are you crazy?
Exactly. All I'm doing is just getting us past this stupid
this game
that we're playing, where somebody thinks they're going to pay $110 for it.
That's right. All right, now you know the rest of the story, guys. Thank you for listening.
God bless.
Talk
Take
to you
care,
next
guys.
time. Yep. Oh, that's too funny.
That is
All
funny.
right. Okay, let's turn this off and turn that off and turn this off.